Hello everybody, I'm Robert. I'm the CEO and co-founder at CloudSigma. In this video, I wanted to show you our approach to measuring and billing resources within our cloud, because we've taken quite a unique approach, which we describe as a utility approach. So our vision for computing, and one of the reasons why we started CloudSigma, was we wanted to create a very open, flexible platform which is very efficient for users. And that efficiency takes its form in many ways. So one way is customers can define their infrastructure in a much more granular and precise way than they can on other competing platforms. And at the same time, we're also very accurate and careful in the way we bill users. And so I wanted to show you both those aspects here so you get the idea. So this is the web app and the dashboard that you can see. And one of the things that you'll notice is that on the bottom here, we have the resources being consumed. And that's because in CloudSigma, we actually bill by resources consumed. We don't bill by servers or drives. And the reason for that is because you can actually create and define those servers and drives with complete flexibility. So if we were trying to bill people based on those sort of virtual resources, virtual artifacts like virtual servers, we would have a very long price list, let's put it that way. So what you can see here is that these are my current consumption levels for the various resources that we bill, and that's CPU, RAM, data transfer, and storage. And then what we do is we measure that every 5 minutes, and we compare that against what you may have already purchased as a subscription or not. And so if I go in and show you on the compute side, you can see here, these are my running servers. I have 4 running servers at the moment, and you see there that my consumption is the same as the total there. It's 38, and this is the total down here, 38. Now, if I was to create a server now, I can just call it just a test and give it a size. And let's just go get a drive quickly from the library. Doesn't matter. I'll just create send to S1. So that's a server I've just created quickly here. And what's going to happen is once it's cloned that drive across, I'll save that server, and you'll see that it has no impact on the billing at all, except for the storage. So we've now got an extra drive of 10 gigabytes. If I save that server now has had no impact on the amount of computing I'm using, but you see there that the distributed SSD just changed slightly, and that's because of the new drive. So it's sensing these changes in real time, essentially. If I now go into my compute, you can see if I was to boot the server up, it'll take about 10 to 15 seconds to boot up. And we should see, you can see it's 3 gigahertz, the size of the machine. And you'll see there, as you can see, that it's immediately sensed the change in usage. And that's fantastic for customers, because what it means is that they can scale up and scale down, and our system is actually accurately recording what they're actually using over time, and we're only billing for what you're using. So now let's have a look at the billing model. So here we can see a snapshot of my billing and my usage and how I'm being billed for that. And this allows you as a customer to easily see what's going on in your account on a single pane of glass, and at the same time to define your sort of purchasing strategy around that. So just to run through this, you can see the current usage levels here, and I already explained how they're adapting to what I'm doing in my account. And then you'll see that we have a column called subscriptions. Now, we actually have what we call free tier, and then that's every customer that's spending above around $10 a month or 10 Swiss francs a month. They get these free resources automatically. So you get 5 terabytes of outbound data transfer, inbound is free, and you get 1 gigabyte of RAM and 50 gigs of SSD, and that's completely free. So what we do is we look at that, and then we look at subscriptions. Now, your subscriptions are capacities that you've purchased of different resources over time. So if you are running, for example, an email server and you've been with CloudSigma for a while and you're happy, you may choose to purchase a subscription for a year for the capacities that you need for that particular server. And as I said, that's completely defined by you, the size of that server, the storage, etc. So what you would do is you would based on the size of that server, say, okay, I'm going to buy some resources, and I'll show you how you can do that in the web app in a minute. And you just simply go in, buy those resources, and then automatically we would sense that you'd already pre-purchased capacity. And then what our billing system does is it compares the total subscriptions that you may have, which could be, the free and the paid subscriptions, looks at what you're currently consuming, And the difference by definition is on-demand, or what we call burst resource consumption. And what we do there is we simply charge you every 5 minutes. So as you can see, I've got 34 gigabytes usage. I've actually got subscriptions, including the free tier of 22 gigabytes. So it's realized that I'm bursting 12 gigabytes, and it puts those microtransactions on my account. So as soon as I shut down any of those servers or reduce my burst, my on-demand charges will immediately be reduced as well. And that's every 5 minutes, 24/7. So it's an extremely accurate system that's measuring what's going on in your account. And as I said, it's taking this utility approach. So the pricing behind that is, again, a utility approach. Now, my account's in Swiss francs, but we also support US dollars, euros, British pounds, as well as the Swiss franc. And we're adding more currencies all the time. So we very much want to cover all the major currencies for customers, so they can easily manage their accounts in a currency that makes sense for them from an invoicing perspective. So you can see here again, all of the pricing is done in a simple way. It's done in a way where we're defining a simple unit, a gigabyte in the case of RAM, or for example, gigahertz in the case of CPU, and then we're charging a certain rate per hour or per month. But the way we're applying that is every 5 minutes, but the reference is giving a reference time frame of an hour or a month, just so you can easily compare. So this is really how the whole system works. It's actually very simple, because if you want to budget or understand the costs or potential costs within CloudSigma, all you need to know is what are the total resources. That's it. It doesn't matter if it's 100 servers, if it's 10 servers. All we care about from our perspective is what is your aggregate resource consumption look like. And from there, you can immediately have a price. So it's extremely transparent, it's predictable, there are no real hidden charges, and it's very efficient because it's able to bill you in real time based on your actual consumption. And you can see here, these are the actual subscriptions. It's got a whole history, but I can obviously go in and filter that for compute resources that I might be having at the time. And you can have them set to auto renew or not, as the case may be. So again, you can really define that. And then what I wanted to show you as a sort of final point are the billing logs. And this basically shows you these microtransactions. So I made a couple of purchases of IPs today, but you can also see these burst transactions coming in for storage that I'm using on burst in this case. And that's very much, that's happening in the background all the time, but you're able to go in, see these, and actually export them as well for your own auditing and compliance purposes. So thanks for your time. That was a little bit of a whirlwind tour on our billing and account management system. I hope you find it attractive as we do, in a way that you can really put your money to work and only pay for what you're using. And happy computing.